So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kristien Vanden Bussche. So, welcome back in Brussels. Welcome back in Belgium too, because as an animator, you are a traveling bird. So you have been a bit everywhere. Now you live again for a while in Belgium, but I know your plans are outside Belgium again. Tell us just a little bit. How did it start? How comes you have become an animator?
It is hard to explain because it all kind of happened through hard work, and I don't know, I'm going to show a little bit in this presentation a chronologic way of how I kind of got there, but this is not only about me, because that's not really interesting. It's about the animation and how, what an animator does. How I got into it is, in the beginning, also a mystery to me, and I'll try to explain when, maybe when I get to the part of the school and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, maybe we should let you start simply talking about your work. So, breathe. Because also as an animator, speaking in public is something you don't do so often and you don't like too much. So let the stress go. All these people are just so wonderful. That's the anima audience. They're just great. So Kristien, good luck. And here's to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, I am a little bit nervous because usually, as Laurent said, I am behind the camera and hidden. I'm not even named. So this is completely strange to me. But I have prepared this thing with a lot of images, so you can see what I've been doing, and then I hope there will be lots of questions, so I kind of know what you need to know and what you want to know. I don't come from a film or animation family, so that's not the way I got into it. My mom was an artist, and she was always drawing and painting, so that kind of came in as natural in life to me. Also to build stuff and to do arts and crafts, and we were always busy that way. Also writing stories, all these art interests were always big in the house. My dad, on the other hand, is a scientist, so a doctor, so the technology side and all the science side came into it too, and I think that kind of made a mixture of interests. Early on, of course, you play with puppets, you try everything out, you make it want to come alive. I always had loads of puppets, loads of cuddly toys that I named, and I would give them characters and play around with them. I think everybody does this. And then I also do remember a very early memory, the Viewmaster, just to watch the Viewmaster and watch these images come alive. So that might be pre-cinema, before I went ever to the cinema. And then of course the cinema came, and there was Pinocchio, and there was all these things. And on the television there was La Linea and lots of animation on the BBC. So yeah. These interests of creating stuff, and then of wanting to write stories, to tell stories, also the technical side of the film, the language, all the apparatus and everything, and of course also music to tell a story. All these things combined give you animation. So when I found out there was an animation school or formation, I went for it and I got in and I did it. To say, I don't know what, nobody probably knows who I am, so as one animator, I have a show reel, which is a sort of a little film you make with all fragments of your own work that you then show to people who want to hire you, so you can show what you are capable of. My last show reel I have here with me, and I kind of just want to play it so you have an idea of the kind of animation I do now, because most of it is quite recent.
Oh, Mr. Snatcher! How did this hat find itself all the way out here?
I'm your biggest fan, Frou-Frou.
Excuse me, okay. Move aside. Pick me!
Look out, oh, very good.
Today, I shall
Something's wrong with my fish.
What is it?
It's not there anymore.
Maybe it just hopped out. Did you have the lid on it?
Ce sont vos mouches mutantes qui l'ont tué.
They're only there for a little bit, and then they're gone.
Les ventes se sont multipliées au-delà de nos espérances. Hein? C'est quand même pas la mort d'une vieille institutrice qui va faire reculer la science.
Mais je me demande tout de même si on n'a pas été un peu trop loin.
Supportable. Impardonnable.
Ingérable. Intolérable.
Did you see those things? They were like...
Bernard, votre analyse de la situation.
Yeah?
They're not like that at all.
Victor, I need your help.
I asked them first.
My problem bigger.
Yeah, he's right.
Ça n'a aucun intérêt. Liquidez-moi, Bazanko.
Okay, let's go. Sparky? There you are. Good boy. Sorry we had to stay here alone.
So this is what I do now, and it's at a quite high level after 18 years now, I guess. There's about 100 people in the world, I have been told, who are doing this now, so stop animation on feature films. We travel to wherever the project is. And we meet up in different places all the time. And it's all very nice, but it wasn't always like this. So I would like to show you some stuff from art school, just to show you that there is a beginning to everything, and there is a kind of a growth in this process, even if you do it professionally. At school, I don't think there's sound on the full thing, and I don't know if I can talk through the sound, yeah. So I'll just let it play. There are exercises and little films in different techniques. It was the academy in Ghent where I went. Raoul Servet founded that animation school, and it is mostly geared towards drone animation. So really classical, and most people do it there. But you also get to try out different techniques, so you can feel where your love lies or something. But of course it all started out with drawing, and there's a bit of that in the beginning. A little ident. For an animation association. This one was never finished. It was supposed to be with black and white and all finished, but I never got to finish it. Still there though. A little walk cycle, Disney-inspired walk cycle. A little extract from a bigger thing as well, also cell animation. And so these kind of things you do on your own, you know, on your table, and you draw all these images. I'm not a good artist, really. I can't draw very, very well. So my, I couldn't really feel it so well. It started to become better trying out cutout animation, this is, where obviously this is not well animated either. I have to say, this is in 1992 or 3 or something. This was blind, so you would just animate, film it, and only see the result when it came back from the laboratory. And you could tweak, of course, movements here and there in editing, but it's more, yeah. Sorry? This is all on film, yeah. All 16 mil, I guess, we did. And then I did feel with this, it was more fun, you know, building the things, and then starting to animate from the beginning to the end. It's a different process than the drawn animation, or what you would have CGI as well. You just start from the beginning. You can't go back, and you can't make mistakes, and you just go, you experiment, you do things, and this is what I love to do. This was a group thing, but we were only 2 people. It was with Toon Loenders, who was a guest teacher, and he just said, plastic. So do something with plastic, and we made this. All experimenting, having fun, and trying stuff out. But with this, I really got into the 3D, the object animation, and the stop motion. Again, this is filmed blind, so, well, it's my excuse for bad animation. But then, well, these were some examples of work at school. So if you are at art school, you're probably doing better than I am. I did then. I was a lousy student. I almost never went to the classes or to the atelier where everybody was working. I would do stuff at home and bring the finished results, which is not really the way you work at school and at an art academy. So I could have done loads better, but anyway, I was young and I was having a good time as well. But then you do your end film, your graduation film, and I did make a puppet film then. On my own, of course, being a student. With no resources, filmed blind again. I made the puppets, I made the sets, I animated, I did the lighting, I did everything except for the music. I have edited it a little bit because it was 5 minutes long or something. The story was not good anyway. I edited it down to something that is watchable, which I will now show. So that's, usually I never show this anymore, never, but it's for you that I do show it, just to show where it all comes from. You can see the big difference between what I did then and what I do now obviously. But then, having done that stop motion film, I was completely hooked, of course, and I have since not done anything else anymore, only stop motion, because it is tactile and you can touch it, you can feel it, it is real. It's like none of the other media in animation that you really know everything exists, although in small it does exist. And it's made by human hands. You kind of feel that. I just love that. It has you can in that way create unique worlds, different worlds. In my opinion, still more personal than any computer generated images, although everything is possible in there too, but it is sort of generic and it feels, voilà, it's a feeling, and I'm just completely for the stop motion. The way, you know, the light shines on real things, you can see it's all made by hand. An image in stop motion, well, I think, and it's going back to the playing with the dolls and everything, I do think it reaches into your everybody's DNA almost, or mutual memory of playing with things and making it come alive, of imitating real life with your dolls. And I think that's why it connects with people. This, yeah, it's hard to explain, this weird feeling. It is the dream, of course, of injecting objects with life. And mostly for me, also, as I said before, in stop motion animation, you start in the beginning and you go to the end. You cannot go back and correct anything, whereas in computer animation, for example, you would, for a walk, you could start with only the body and then do the legs and then do the arms and just go over it until it's all perfect. It's a way of working that I don't really feel. I just need to get in the moment and do it. So stop motion is completely the thing to do this. I then went, because I'm gonna go a bit faster maybe, or I'll never get to the Boxtrolls. After school, you think, what the hell am I going to do with this? I went to London to find what I could do with this. I knew there was television in London, animation in London. In Belgium, I had no clue what was going on. I don't think there was much going on 20 years ago. Except for people, of course, making their own stuff, which is fantastic, but I'm not such a big artist. And I did want to get better at animating. So I went to London and found out where the studios were. I phoned them all and I went there and I got work on a series pretty quickly. As I had no experience, I had to do a test, of course, and then be hired. And this was on the Wombles. The Wombles is an old series from the 70s that they remade in the 90s. Little creatures. I have then done lots of series, so there is a little series of series coming up now, but I won't show you everything because it's all a bit in the same and you all kind of know what it is. Children's animation, easy stories, simple stories, simple animation. For example, yeah, so the Wombles, this is what they look like. This was in London. And I have a little compilation of shots of mine that I did then. It's really small and it's bad quality because it's really old and it came from a VHS or something. But I'll just show it to give you an impression. This was still film blind, the Wombles. That was 1997, 98. But you can see the acting is getting better, so it's probably working on it, seeing the result of what you do, trying out things, and just understanding the process of movement, of weight, of all these things that are important for acting. I will talk about acting some more, although I find it hard to explain, because although it's my job, I don't really know how I do it. I just do it. It's a gut feeling or something. I do know when it's wrong. So whenever it's wrong, I correct it until it's right. And that's more or less how I do it, which is a rubbish explanation, but it works. Of course, there are your principles and your rules, and also a rule not to have too many rules. Rocky and the Dodos was another series. Then I moved to Manchester, and there was a studio called Cosgrove Hall Animation. And they did loads of series for CITV, for BBC, and I did loads with them. I lived there for about 6 years in total, and did work on Rocky and the Dodos, on Rotten Ralph, There's a little compilation again of Rotten Ralph.
He's a real king of rotten, it's just got to be bad. Life without this crazy cat would be so sad. Always makes a mess and gets mom and dad mad. He's a really, really rotten Ralph. Rotten Ralph, pranks and jokes never end. Rotten Ralph, you're in trouble again. Worst little kitty anyone ever had. He's a really, really rotten Ralph.
Sing it again.
He's a really, really rotten Ralph.
More fun with Rotten Ralph. And then there was also Bill and Ben. No, I'm afraid not. It was a funny show though, all kind of dodos on an island, and yeah. No, I'm afraid not. I do have a VHS somewhere. Old, it's old. Fetch the vet. Yeah, of all these things also, when you're shooting, when you're animating, you don't always take all your shots with you. You don't think of this and then you come home and you have nothing. Some of the things you can afterwards ask the shots of, or rip the DVD, or all these things. But yeah, often I come home and I remember what I've been doing, but I don't have it. Nowadays I do try to store everything. Fetch the Vet was another one. NG Benji. Bob the Builder, he's a known one. Nijntje, Miffy, this was in Holland. Well, yeah, again, you go where the shows are. So then I spent a year in Holland, and then after Holland it was Germany, Little Blue Dragon, and yeah, just I can show you here what we do mostly when you arrive on a new show. And there is time, and there is money, and there is the opportunity. You try out the puppets first, you play with them again, but you try out and try to find the character, try to find, especially when there's more animators, which usually there are, you try to find a mutual style, or also character for every one of the single characters. And this you just do on a set with no installation, you just play around. And the first two of these are little walk cycles that I tried out. How does he walk? And then one or two shots from the show. He has replacement faces, which is actually the same as the Boxtrolls now have. So they have been around for always. Only there they were sculpted and there was less of them. So you can see them pop more. The intervals are not smooth. So, well, I'll just play this. He has huge feet, so. And you try out a little bit.
Other clever inventor invented the toothbrush. And another very clever inventor invented the telephone.
I'd like to be a clever inventor and invent something too.
Inventing things can't be that hard.
I wonder what I should invent. I know. I'll invent the light bulb. Yes, light bulb, light bulb, light bulb, light. Meow. Everybody needs a tail dealy wobbler. Don't they? Kitty, kitty, kitty. Come, kitty, kitty.
Yeah, this is all of the series, don't worry. There is more interesting stuff to come. But this is a good learning school, actually, to work on series, to learn to get the acting right. This is not great acting yet, but at least there are these stages in acting that you kind of see coming. At first you are happy that the movement is right, so that you don't jump up and wonder, well, what's wrong with this movement? There's something wrong with it, but I don't know what. Usually this is the weight that is not right. They feel weightless. They don't have, the physical presence on the floor. And that's the first stage of acting. If it's not too stiff, or if it doesn't have enough keyframes, or these things that can be wrong or feel wrong. The feet don't stay nicely put, but slide everywhere, or poses that make no sense, and all this. But that's the first stage where you are happy that the things move, and they move like physically right, with all the physics also involved. Then the second stage would be that they act as well, and that you feel the emotion and all this. With these, it's not really at the second stage yet. They are just doing all the stuff. Of course, they have a little character. He's a little bit like that. The cat is a little bit like that, but it's hard to tell. So we go to more complicated stuff to find that. And but first we did another little thing for Arte. This was just another to show that there's different techniques as well in stop motion again. Here's a puppet with a plasticine face, and this guy is completely plasticine.
Fest. Arte.
That was for Christmas for Arte, and we did loads of those different scenes from the circus. But then to get into real acting is what I wanted to do, through the puppets, of course, still. And that time, well, maybe at the time of, and I think I have noted, Corpse Bride was the Tim Burton film in London, was crewing up, and I applied. And I went into London to do a test, where you, again, like the little dragon, you make the puppet walk, and they can see what you do with it. And this is sort of an audition. You do your best during 2 or 3 days, and on the spot, so they can see it's you who has been doing it. And then they choose, through all these acting performances, the people they want in the team. And I did not make the team then. So I did continue a bit more with the series, and I got a phone call and went to Switzerland instead of Corpse Bride to work on Max & Co. Max & Co. is a feature film by Fred and Sam Guillaume, and one of the few European feature films being made. And there you had better puppets, and it was a real story with real characters, with real personalities. So this is maybe then where the second stage of acting kind of developed, and then with me. The second stage of acting being that you do show emotions, and the facial expressions convey the inside of the character, and even without the character saying a word, you should be able to tell what their mood is, or even what they are like as a person. The body language, of course, is primal to that, and you should see, only through body language already, if they're lazy, if they're aggressive, if they're do they have a bad foot, do they have a backache, or all these things play to make the characters interesting and to make them convincing as well, which is important in acting. The third stage, I might just add to this because otherwise it's going all over the place. The third stage in this acting, so you got the movement right with all the physics, and then the acting is happening also, and then you really want the unique and identifiable personality also in a character. The third stage, where the test would be if you had two identical puppets and you would animate one as the good guy, one as the bad guy, you would see the difference, of course, and try to switch them around, and that's a good exercise to get the personality down. With Max & Co, maybe I have a little, I do a little trailer.
Messieurs, aujourd'hui, la tapette à mouche ne se vend plus. Pourquoi? C'est inacceptable. Nous allons faire toujours plus de tapettes, toujours plus performants. Aujourd'hui, il est impératif de rationaliser la production. Travail, efficacité, rendement.
Le problème, c'est pas les tapettes, c'est les mouches.
L'humanité va-t-elle voir disparaître la tapette à mouche? Un savant fou a peut-être trouvé une solution terrifiante. Il ne sait pas encore qu'un jeune garçon insouciant...
Je m'appelle Sam, et toi? Max?
...sera son principal adversaire.
Tu pourrais faire attention.
Max & Co.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Tiens, regarde, toutes ces mouches, c'est louche. Il se passe des choses en haut de la tour. Les mouches qui nous attaquent depuis quelques jours, c'est à l'usine qu'on les fabrique.
Il y a des mouches grosses comme ça.
Et des grosses comme ça. T'en as déjà vu?
Face à la machination diabolique qui se prépare.
Je me demande si on n'a pas été un peu trop loin.
Les ventes se sont multipliées au-delà de nos espérances.
Franchement, y a de quoi prendre la mouche. Mammifères de tous les pays, unissez-vous. Max & Co.
Je crois que j'ai une idée.
Un max de suspense. Un max d'humour. Un max d'action. Max & Co. arrive.
Que la fête commence!
Max & Co is nice. These are, as I said, two puppets. If you want later to have a feel, they are old, so they are falling apart. The silicone is sticky and everything, but you can have a little feel just to see the weight and what a real puppet feels like. Just to find in the acting now the personality, you also again try out lots of stuff. You obviously start with in these things there would be an animation Bible to start with. The director, animation director, all kind of people who have been working on the story would have already defined traits for different characters. So you can start with reading that and trying to understand the characters. Very important, where they come from, what they have lived, all kinds of information that would help you make them who they are. If she is like Félicie here, is how would you call that? An emancipated young lady or something. She's fierce. She takes action. She's not a little girly girl. She's a bit of a tomboy, but you don't want to make her rough because she's still a girl. So you try out different ways of walking, for example, for her. And this always jumps. This is a little bit too prissy, and then a little bit more nonchalant, which
Ce sont
I
vos
kind
mouches
of like.
mutantes qui l'ont tué.
Cessez vos jérémiades!
Yeah, so it's just things. I have a little sound bite, and I do an animation to it, and I'll see what it gives, and we can then later on talk about it and find the good things in the acting and the things that don't work. And with all people doing this, you slowly build up a character. And it's nice if you can do it from the beginning with the whole crew, because then you kind of ease into it. If you arrive halfway through a movie, you have to jump in and follow what has already been decided. So adapt your style, the animation style to it, or the style of the character completely. This is the thing as an animator on different projects, that you are always asked, can you do different styles? Can you? And obviously, if you can't, it will be hard to find your way into these things. Max and Co. Yeah, so we play around with the puppets for a while, but obviously we have to shoot, and there's a tight schedule. So things get going, and then to help find this real character, and that is at that stage it kind of started. What we do is film ourselves and try out movements and mime it all out. Not then therefore to copy the movements afterwards frame by frame, but just to have a reference. You can then take a little bit of this movement, a little look from that movement, and put it all together and make a nice performance. This is a piece of, I think, on the making of on the DVD, where they show at every time a little mime, and then the shot afterwards, how it turned out, so you can see for yourself how that kind of works.
Avec quel argent, banane? Avec quel argent, banane?
Pourtant, l'animal ne sait pas ce qu'il attend. Généreux et noble maître, vous semblez contrarié.
Quand l'animal ne sait pas ce qu'il attend. Généreux et noble maître, vous semblez contrarié.
Ainsi donc, tu as des remords.
So these are all animators trying out a little bit. As you see, we use everything that's around us to make believe. The important thing is that you get the feeling of it. A second little clip in this on the same subject is the same thing, the mimes, but this is edited together, so you can see the shot and the mime. It's hard to watch both at the same time, but you will see how it is different people playing different parts on different days. They change clothes, but usually you will see Ludovic, he keeps coming back because he's the best actor. He was the best actor there. And it all kind of comes together, and it's not followed literally, but you will see always the influence of the mimes in the performance.
Moi aussi, quand j'avais votre âge, je rêvais d'être un artiste. Je chantais, je peignais, j'écrivais des poésies. Un martel, des marteaux, un crapal, des crapauds, des rodolphales. Un rodolpho.
Ah, mais c'est très très joli.
Oh, je faisais des colliers en coquillage, de la broderie, des patchwork. J'ai même failli être danseur au Bolshoi.
Tu aurais dû le faire au lieu de pourrir la vie de tes employés.
Tiens, Madame Doudou, quel bon vent vous amène?
Un vent de panique, misérable. Qu'est-ce qui t'a pris de renvoyer la moitié de l'usine?
La conjoncture et les actionnaires. De toute façon, ce ne sont pas vos oignons, hein. Comme disait Napoléon, à chacun son métier et les vaches seront bien gardées.
Impertinent. Et cette jeune femme, c'est ta nouvelle secrétaire, je suppose?
Non, c'est une grande artiste. Je compte sur son talent pour relancer la production. Elle a une voix divine.
Tu sacrifies tes ouvriers et tu engages une chanteuse. Ah, j'en conclus que tu n'as plus besoin de moi. À moins que tu ne reprennes tes esprits, on ne m'entendra plus le matin.
Merci de votre visite, Madame Doudou. Excusez-nous, nous avons du travail.
A little mime of this is one of the directors doing a little piece of a scene that I then animated later. You will find it later I just put it there because it's always funny to see. You will find in the scene that comes later this little bit of mime.
Cessez-vous, Jérémien. Si vous ne l'avez pas dopé comme un malade, il n'aurait pas pris ses proportions.
Arrêtez, ça m'agace. Qu'est-ce que vous avez?
La mère Doudou a cassé sa pipe.
Et alors? À son âge, ça lui pendait au nez.
Ce sont vos mouches mutantes qui l'ont tué.
Cessez vos jérémiades. Si vous ne les aviez pas dopées comme un malade, elle n'aurait pas pris ses proportions.
Peut-être, mais quand même.
De quoi vous plaignez-vous? Les ventes se sont multipliées au-delà de nos espérances. C'est quand même pas la mort d'une vieille institutrice qui va faire reculer la science.
Mais je me demande tout de même si on n'a pas été un peu trop loin.
Vous étiez au bord du gouffre. Aujourd'hui, vous êtes riche. Vous voulez tout arrêter?
Non, c'est vrai, ça serait pas très raisonnable. Il faut savoir accepter les cadeaux de la Providence.
There's no more clapping. So yeah, this was a full scene. I was happy to do a full scene because normally, as an animator, you are in the movie. You do whatever is on the schedule. There are so many scenes, so many shots. Everything there is a big breakdown. There's a big schedule, so that all the puppets can be used. Not at the same, that they don't have to be used at the same time. And often you do go from a few shots here in this scene to a few shots in the other scene, and it's all very confusing. This was very nice to do a whole scene and just go deeper into it, into becoming this character. after Max and Co, I did another little short. This is of José Miguel Ribeiro, a Portuguese guy. And it looks like stepping back, but it's not stepping back. These puppets are really simple. He loves to just simplify and still show emotion in those. And he, talking about the style, he did ask minimal animation. So you could even leave puppets standing still when they were not moving, which is something we don't do anymore in Boxtrolls or Frankenweenie or Max & Co. When people are not moving, they're always still moving. You will see that I am going a little bit, I don't know, I'm always moving. And even if you would have a character and that would not be moving, you would still move it with tiny amounts, or just touch the clothing to make it breathe. For example, if you touch clothing and it moves, you can make the illusion of breathing. But then here he was completely simple. A square head on a square body with magnets, they float all over each other. So that was challenging again to find, how can I still make this act quite believable? Which I have here, quite a bit, all the shots, but I'll just show the beginning and then jump.
The house with the car, your mom's stuff with ours. I'm not even sure you want this baby. It's beautiful, sweetie. In your new house, you're gonna have a dog. As if the army made a big man out of you. Tomorrow at 8 sharp, I'll be at Miguel's garage.
Again, trying to make the woman, the child, the old woman, and make that shine through. Then after this, we go to Spain, where there was the movie Apostolo, and which is also an interesting movie. They have realistic puppets, and the acting style was realistic as well, with low budget, not much time, not enough people, so it's as always a struggle, but we did quite all right, I think. There's a little trailer just to give you an impression of the movie.
Amen.
Yeah, I have here as well all my shots of this movie, but I won't let you go through that. Maybe just start off the beginning again of the shots, and because I have some pictures after that show what the set looks like if you stand back and you don't only see the camera framing. So it's all in Spanish.
Ramón, los que nacemos ladrones, morimos ladrones.
This scene is in the taverna. All these guys come in and go all the way around. The camera move is memorized in the computer and will be done again, so I can do all the foreground characters. These guys are all in the foreground. And then you have green and blue screen behind it, so after they can composite the two shots, and you have I'm afraid I can't show you that, but you have the whole taverna full with people and all the people coming in. And so if I might just go there again so you see. The shakiness again is in the PowerPoint because this is not, and that's not right, is it, to show animation? That's shaky. At this point, maybe I could say that for one set there is one animator, so I would do all these guys. And you would not have one animator doing them and one animator them, because that would be hell, I think, if you then have to agree on, well, are you ready? This kind of brings on a typical thing of...
No vemos qué problema puede haber en que compartamos...
Lo sé.
Of acting in animation. That you don't only jump from shot to shot in the movie to different points and have to get back to the context and where are we now and what has he been doing and how is he feeling. But you also have to do the different characters at the same moment in time, which takes again a lot of your focus and which makes it all fun to do. And then try to make it so that they're not all acting in the same way, of course, because that would be missing all the point of your character animation, where an actor would have one character in a movie and he could he doesn't have to think about what he does too much. Well, they do when they prepare, but once you're acting, you do the things and you do all these things because you're in the character. You do them the way the character would do them. An animator has to be has to think about everything external to make the internal show. So you have to get your posture, your weight, your attitude, your blinks, your gestures, all. So you are thinking about, you can't just be one actor and act it out. An actor in a movie has one character. An actor or an animator has several characters to deal with, and several times in the story as well. The actor in the movie, he can dive into the character completely and just continue. As an animator, you jump in and out of these characters. You jump in and out of the shots. You are doing segmented work. So it's a couple of days him, a week him, and it's all very exciting, but it's hard. And the real challenge then to make your performance stand out and to avoid that they all look generic is the real challenge, and to find these special moments really in the performance. These special moments, again, we find them in lots in reference, and by acting it out yourself, by trying to become it, to think about what is in the character and in that life, and to find then the emotion that you want to purvey, and the motivation that the character has to do something, which is ultra important. That little scene I just wanted to show you. So the first thing in the taverna. This is the taverna. So you see we're shooting with a normal stills camera, which is there in the front, and then you would go in between the camera and the puppets, obviously. And it's not always easy to find enough space, and there's a lot of stretching and gymnastics involved with that. And all that what you see above are lights and reflectors for lights and all kinds of things. So it's one big forest of stands, really, usually a set like that. And there's one more of the other scene then, where the camera is really close and you wiggle in between to get to the puppets. Here you can see that was a green screen shot anyway, so you don't need any of the backgrounds. And he was also, you can see on the right, the screen that we see when we're animating with the software, the dragon frame on it. You can see that he's only half into screen, so the real puppets, he doesn't even have legs. It doesn't matter. You put him on a rig and he's actually more stable than on his 2 legs, and you don't have to worry about the legs anymore. You can move the rig, obviously, so he still moves, but we can cheat a lot in that way. Anything that you don't see out of frame, you can cheat. These guys in the sewer, on the right, you can see the prisoner guys in the sewer. This was actually a tube, and that was because of the light. It had to be a physical tube. You would maybe take it off, think, oh, I'll take it off and I'll animate. And this was not possible in this one, because it all had to be, well, it was just not possible. So you go into the pipe and you come out, and you go into the pipe and you come out and continue. Yeah, it's good to stay in shape as an animator. It's a very physical job, actually. You're on your feet all day. Days are typical day would be from 8 till 7 or something. And then if your shot is not finished, usually you continue. It's hard to leave shots overnight. Or you want to get to a certain point, you continue. And 10-hour days are not strange. Then, I didn't make him a little nice title. After Apostolo, we went to Poland, and there was the flying machine. The flying machine is made by Breakthrough Films. They made Peter and the Wolf before. Peter and the Wolf, who won an Oscar. They are also, again, realistic. It's such a fine line. Where is a naturalistic, realistic? Oh yeah, this is a little trailer. I'll go for that. It's all on Chopin music. It's a little 20-minute animation in a live action movie, probably why nobody ever saw this. But the animation on itself was also, again, nominated for an Oscar. Here I just realized I might have to go a little faster. Again, a little mime, maybe it's repetitive, but here it's the director himself who acted stuff out. Normally we talk through a shot beforehand, and you would take a lot of notes. But this guy is Leslie Clapp, and he wanted to act it out. It's his way of working. So you would talk about it loads, and then he would still act it out, do it several times, get through the thought process, and even say out loud what he's thinking. You go away with the video and the notes, and then make the shot. This is a simple shot. He did a few of the mimes, and then is my shot afterwards.
And then bank and cut. We have a step, tiny move on the head, a look.
So even for a little simple thing like that, it all gets worked out from the beginning. And you can see the elements of his mime are in the shot, although I of course have to make it as long as it needs to be. He was just improvising and kind of try to fit everything in there. Ooh, then there is more interesting stuff. Finally, we come to Frankenweenie, which was also in London, Tim Burton film, of course. And I guess everybody's seen it, but let's have a little trailer.
Sparky is a great dog, a great friend. When you lose someone you love, they never really leave you. He'll always be in your heart.
I don't want him in my heart. I want him here with me.
Even after death, the muscles respond to electricity.
Sparky! I can't believe it! I can fix that.
Your dog is alive!
Victor brought an animal back to life.
Lightning and boom and something big is gonna happen.
Who's responsible for this?
I just wanted my dog back.
We can do bigger.
Rise, Colossus.
Cool.
Victor!
Let's go!
I need your help.
No problem, Biga. Yeah, he's right.
So you can see that there's a difference in budget in this. Coming to this. This is a big movie, a year and a half of shoot, 30 animators, I think, in total. So that's a big. It's a whole village. There would be 500 people working on a movie like this, all coming together, of course, for the shoot, for a year and a half from all over the world, and then we go home to all our different places. Yeah, I did have my shots of Frankenweenie. For this one, I think I will show them all, well, not all, this bunch. It kind of does have a pace, and it's okay, so I'll just give you, these are, the trailer obviously everybody's shots, and these are only mine.
And cables.
How do you know? Did you get that out of the litter box? Your Whiskers dreams about you.
I need your help. Did you see those things? They were like sea monkeys. You know how on the package, they're like
in a happy kingdom and everyone's smiling.
Yeah?
They're not like that at all.
Victor, I need your help.
I asked them first.
My problem bigger.
Yeah, he's right.
Yay. And then we went to the States, and the Boxtrolls is, I think, like Frankenweenie, a big circus again. In that difference that Laika, where they made the movie, is a studio that stays there, and they make movies. They are independent, and they stay there. They have the people come to them. But it's not, like Frankenweenie, a company that only exists for the movie. This is a real company. They have made Coraline, they have made Paranorman, and now the Boxtrolls. Obviously, of the Boxtrolls, I wish I could show you real stuff, real puppets and all that, but again, as an animator, you go home with nothing. I have a mug, a teacup with Boxtrolls on. I also have one of Frankenweenie and one of Max & Co. I just put them in my cupboard, and a t-shirt and a fleece. But real stuff, well, yeah, it's hard to bring all that. A little trailer, which is maybe not one you have seen, I don't know. It was the first ever teaser trailer, so it doesn't tell you anything about the story. It's just to give you a taste of the world. And in those days there was, or it still is, the issue about gay marriage, and was playing a lot in the States. It's still state by state that are now approving of this, but it was very much in the actuality. So they made this, which is a bit actual about the actuality and not about the Boxtrolls story. Hello. Yeah.
Sometimes there's a mother. Sometimes there's a father. Sometimes there's a father and a father. Sometimes both fathers are mothers. Sometimes there's a mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, weird aunties with funny hats, a butler, and old uncles who do nothing but eat rare, smelly cheese.
Rare. Smelly.
And sometimes there's no one at all. But sometimes there are boxes. Families come in all shapes and sizes, even rectangles.
It's always good stuff of like, I'm sorry I didn't remove the thing, but that's okay. So yeah, the Boxtrolls, again, I can show you my shots and all that, and stuff that you probably all have seen. I don't know, if you go looking on YouTube, you find a lot of making of films, and that's a few of them I did bring, because it's interesting and it shows you what it's like in a studio, what people are doing, and it just gives you, it's probably also why you came to listen to me, to find out what it's really like on a movie set. This is also this was a trailer, the second one, I think. You might have seen it again. It gives you the best impression of the whole thing, process, studio creativity people at work.
They've got the whole world in their hands. 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 They've got the flowers and the trees in their hands. They've got the sun and the moon in their hands. They've got the wind and the rain in their hands. They've got the whole world in their hands. They've got everybody here in their hands. They've got everybody here in their hands. They've got you and they've got me in their hands. They've got the whole world in their hands.
I cried the first time I saw that, because it just goes, wow, you got the whole world in your hands. You have seen different specific things for the Boxtrolls, maybe. The faces, of course, are printed. You can take them off, and so they are replacement faces. The thing they have developed is to use the 3D printer to do this instead of sculpting all the faces. So you can go way further in the way to handle this now is then first to animate it in a computer, only the face. This is then done by a facial animator, but together with the animator who's doing the scene or who's doing the character. So you work on this together while the computer animator is doing the face. You get on with all your preparation and you go back and check on several points and then tweak, and it's something you do together. Then the little face in the computer animated, all the frames are then printed out in the computer, so when they change, obviously, of shape, and then you would just replace them. This kind of takes out, I do find, as an animator, the pleasure of animating the face, because when you're animating the whole character, you don't have to bother about the face anymore. It's already done, it's there in big trays, and you just, with numbers, and it's all marked, and you know where everything goes. So that part goes away, but in a way you do it beforehand while you're animating the face with a facial animator, so you have done it, and then maybe you can focus more on the body while you're animating the real shot with the faces. Oh yeah, I did not say, normally you would have, you would not shoot all this straight away, so you would have, in this case then in the Boxtrolls or in Frankenweenie, first a block. This is a very sketchy going through the shot. So you would really do 10 frames, 15 frames, and go through all the motion, just put them wherever they go, find nice positions, find nice poses, and just record all that and then go see through. This is to find out if choreography works, if the timing works, if the light also works, because there's lighting people and camera people who are doing their thing in the same time as well. And they can check on the block if they are okay, they can tweak in the meantime as well. Then you go back, well, this is all after the feedback, of course. First you talk with the directors, then you do a block. Then you go back to the directors with the block and talk through that, and they will say, this is right, this is wrong, this is strong, this is shouldn't do that, do this up, and you change it all around. You do a rehearsal. A rehearsal would be here in Laika on 2s. So, voilà, two frames. I guess you're all a little familiar with animation. Normally you have 24 frames per second, always, and you would preferably shoot them all, make it nice and smooth. But with doubles, you do 12 positions and shoot them all twice. So it's tick, 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 tick. It played off, it's the same speed as well. That depends on the animation. And your eye can't really see that it's only half of the acting of the poses done, because of the slowness of your eye. Your eye sees a movement in following positions because of the slowness of your eye. Well, we do see, and people who watch a lot of animation do see if it's single or doubles, and it's a feeling. Doubles are a little more stop motion, not that they go like this, because that would be wrong, but you can feel a little more stop motion feel in it. Singles would be smoother, but usually everybody goes for singles, and doubles is only if the budget won't and the time won't allow it. You also saw in the little film the rigs when they fly and when they jump. They need obviously something to keep them there, and these are all mechanical metal constructions that will keep them motionless in any position you want. They will be painted out in post-production later. And there is actually a breed of people also living in studios. They are riggers, and they do nothing but try to attach things to things and make stuff stick and make stuff stand. And it's a very interesting job as well, and they're tinkering with metal. So these replacement faces, there was loads and loads of them. If you know, there is 200 Boxtrolls. There was about 200 Boxtrolls made. There's 27 eggs, puppets. So the main character was made 27 times, so he could play in different shots and different scenes at the same time and not hinder the schedule. And then obviously they don't all have all the faces. The faces will be put on. The faces live in a library, and it is a whole room full of faces. It is incredible. Where Jack, in The Nightmare Before Christmas, there was replacement faces also in some characters. Jack Skellington, he had 800 faces. The eggs now, the main character of the Boxtrolls, has 15,000. And some are separate, some are the whole face, but mostly they are separate. So you have the eyebrows, all the expression in the eyebrows in faces, and the mouth, and well, now they also do the cheeks, and even the skin moving, everything moves. And with these separations and then all the combinations you can make of them, you can come to 1,400,000 expressions. So you just can go wild. And yeah, then there is a big discussion, is this going too smooth or too... but it's up to everybody, what you kind of like, what you don't like. It's a taste thing. I think they are using the technology for the stop motion, and it's not weighing on the stop motion. It doesn't take over from the stop motion. It's still basically stop motion. One guy who didn't have faces was the Herbert, the crazy guy in the, well, I can't give away the story for people who haven't seen it. But there's a guy with lots of hair, and he's hanging upside down most of the time, so, and he's got a big beard. So he didn't have replacement faces. You couldn't just remove all the hair and put it, could never do that. So he has a mechanical face, like the old style, like Frankenweenie and Max & Co. guys. But there is a bit more to show. How to make a Boxtroll is this little one. This is Nick. So they are different in that they don't have a normal skeleton and then the clothing or the silicone and the clothing over it. Their body is the metallic box because they all had to go inside the box as well. And all the limbs are then attached to the box, really. And they had little mechanics, so they could, the legs could go inside the box and the arms go inside the box with replacements again. So a long arm, you take off the long arm, there's a shorter arm, there's a shorter arm, and then he's gone. Because there was no room in the boxes for that either. Every character needs different design, and these guys are incredible at finding all that, and all I need to do then later is to make them look good, these puppets. There's another making of. I know it's easy to show those, but it does give you the best impression about, there's plenty about all kinds of aspects, but this is costume and clothing. But I did want to show it because there is, you can see a lot of animators in it, animation in it, little clips as well, and also some time lapses of people animating. So it's all nice to see.
I had absolutely no idea you'd have costumes for an animated film.
Deborah Cook, our costume designer, came up with these incredible costumes for this imagined kind of Victorian era, blending all these different kind of European styles, Victorian, Edwardian.
I love the research. I look at absolutely everything: fashion collections, photographers, art books. One of the paintings that we particularly used for inspiration for this film was Delacroix's Liberty Leading the People.
The main focus in that painting is the red. So we use that as our colour palette for the Red Hat world, the darker sort of world.
I knew that's how people saw us.
We looked at ballet russe from the 1930s.
It was very theatrical, you were seeing it on a stage, so it lent itself very well to puppet sort of animation and a stylised world.
We do a lot of fabric shopping trips and investigative work on what we can use. We're creating our own fabrics. We also use laser cutting in some of the surfaces of the fabrics.
You can etch with the laser cutter.
To really give it a richness and a texture that we weren't able to do before.
His pants here have some laser etched pattern in the surface. You can see it particularly in his hat here too.
A white hat indicates privilege, prestige, position.
Being able to come up with these incredible designs that are evocative of an idea or a feeling, but also to do it at a scale that's virtually impossible. I mean, like the leg of one of these characters is as big as my pinky.
Wait, what? We need to find things that are believable as clothes in their world, which means they have to be as tiny as they are. They also need to look very elegant and be able to move extremely smoothly for our animation process.
The Winnie character, she's dressed in all these prissy outfits from her family, which she obviously just gets filthy.
It's time to take off that dress and burn it.
There's about 37 yards of fabric in those bottom frills. You need to get the follow through on all of those flounce and petals on her dress, so there's metal things in there to help that follow through. When she lands down in the mud, her dress just goes boink at the end. Takes a lot to make that boink.
We dance. We'll what?
The beautiful sequence of the ballroom, that was the most intimidating.
There are so many dresses, and every time, someone moves, everyone has to move too, and they have to twirl them around.
The thing that's terrifying for both animators and puppet makers is floating fabric.
It's a real challenge. They have to move in a believable way.
Women dancing and dresses swooshing.
Underneath, they've actually got hoops of metal with wiring in them.
It looks so soft, but it's actually really bendy. It's not a fabric like you would think it's a fabric. They make it ripple like that.
That's it, eggs? You're dancing!
We've never seen costumes like this at that scale that hold up so beautifully on the big screen.
A lot of it is down to devs really pushing the art of costume making.
Absolutely beautiful.
It's really an extraordinary achievement.
I do see now even the Boxtrolls shots shake, or they jump. So I'm afraid it is down to all the information being going through the PowerPoint or something. I have to find something about that, because it's a real shame, because this is about animation and it looks a bit shaky. You also saw lots of English people in the States, in Laika, because they come from Mackinnon and Saunders, they come from London, they come from Tim Burton, they come from all sides. The Boxtrolls does have an English feel to it too, but there's loads of English people working there. And we also saw Travis Knight, who is the CEO of Laika, but he's also an animator, and that is quite incredible that he's still on the floor and is still animating, and he's one of the best. A few little things here I can show maybe with my pictures. I only took photographs at Laika of my own sets while I was on my own, because you're usually on your own all day with your own set, but I could not really go to other people's sets or just be like a tourist, and because you just don't do that at Laika. Everything is a big secret until the movie comes out. So you sign everything away. You have no rights to have an image or to show it to anybody. So you just don't do it. And I have very few pictures. But this, for example, on the left is the shot of the movie, a little still of one shot of the movie that I animated. I positioned then on the still as well. On the right is while I was animating it, so you can see there's no background, there is no nice town square, it's just a green screen that you look at all day, and all the guys in the foreground are not there either, and these are actually also CGI guys, because Laika does add a lot of characters that are CGI to the stop motion characters, where in Frankenweenie it would still be all puppets. So if you had a crowd, they're all puppets. Here they kind of make a compromise and say, okay, we'll do the most important characters in stop motion, and then CGI for the rest of the guys. And the CGI guys always told us that they look at stop motion to make it less smooth. So to have this stop motion feel into it. Going from this to that, you see that where does the background then come from? It's also a picture from my screen, because I had it as a reference, so I knew what was behind the real sets, but then a photograph of it, obviously, and behind it a sky in CGI. And as the Boxtrolls are in a sort of European period time, they went for architecture to look all over the place in Europe and had inspiration in Europe, but working on the main square and seeing that, I just always felt like I was in the middle of Brussels, and just looked it up on Google while I was there and find this little picture, one of the first images you find of the Grand Place in Brussels, and you can see the similarities in the buildings. For me, it's completely Brussels, that Grand Place, the main square. And I did talk to the set designer about this, and she was a bit surprised and said, "Fuck, it works then." And she was happy that somebody from Brussels recognized it. Just the feel, you know, the whole thing. And she did say, indeed, it was inspired by Brussels. So it's a nice thing to know. And then you see the same scene, different shot. These guys in the foreground I would have animated, and the guys in the background too, and all the guys in the middle, all the audience, the big mass of people are all CGI. So they're not here. And I would not even animate at this point, and that was a reason for light and practicalities. I would only animate the guys in the background first, take them all away, and do the guys in the foreground, and then the compositors would composite the whole shot later. This is just to show you the size and the scale and how you can reach them. Sometimes you can't reach them from the front and you animate from the back. It's all in a day's work. And you strip it down even more if they are, like again you see on the screen, they are not completely in frame. Take away the stage that is in the way so I can reach the front side of the characters. And I would just be animating 3 guys on a corner of a table. In the whole scene, it would look as if they are on a square with lots of people around them. Winnie on the slide. Well, she has rigs as well. It's just what I wanted to show. So this and this. It rolls. It's a little mechanical, so you can move it to different stages, all built by the riggers, all built on that set for that purpose. And here is that rig as well. And this scene where she came sliding off the slide, it's hard to see, but this is the set. So it's usually very dark in studios. We're like moles. This is a camera, and it's on rails. So that's for the camera move, because the camera came closer. There's a computer screen. Here's more computers to make the camera move and to see what you're doing. But as I am there, I have a screen here too, so I don't have to go back and forth all the time. It's too far, and I am sitting on the set here. The slide is here. And I had to go climb on the set, animate, climb back off, and so on to do this. Little Boxtrolls. Here I have rigs too, because he came falling out of the air. And again, you see anything that you don't see in the screen, or that they would put in foreground later, is not really very well taken care of, and you can see glue everywhere. And it's usually only when you can't see it. Little Winnie on the town square. There was also the cobblestones were there, and some buildings, but not all the buildings, and no sky and all that. So that's just green screen behind it. And then you can see here how they do put it all together. These are a few clips of a few shots, where you see only the character being animated. Somewhere in the middle, they put in all the rest. They stop it for a while, they put in all the rest, and then the animation continues. So you can see all the different layers that go into this. Oh. Jumping all over. And this is the cave. Oh no, the ballroom chase. And this is the cave. And one more. Oh no, this was the last. Then just to conclude, oh no, there's one little more after, but this is, I showed you my showreel in the beginning, the good stuff. This is just a part of the Boxtrolls again. So you can maybe now, with all that we've been talking about and what you have seen, just to recapitulate, you can see my shots on the Boxtrolls, and it starts on me animating. With all these time lapses, of course, you don't see all the movement of the puppet, because you move every part of the puppet before it's in the position and you can take a frame. But for the time lapse, you just pretend that you're animating, and so this is why it kind of looks like you're only touching this and the puppet does all the rest, but it does give you an idea of the scale and the size and the craftsmanship is what we call it. Oh, well, there it goes.
How did this hat find itself all the way out here?
I'm your biggest fan, Frou-Frou.
Excuse me, okay. To the side. Pick me!
Oh, very good.
Today, I shall
I think I need to clean out my computer because this is completely overloaded. You saw the shaking again, sorry. But, well, there you have it. And I'm just going to have a little look to see in my notes if there's anything I really needed to say that I haven't. But not really for the acting. So we have gone through the emotion, the motivation, the body language, the power, this, good acting, bad acting. Mainly is what I would say is everything that you animate has a function. If you animate, don't animate without knowing why you're animating something that way. Any action that you put in a character should help sell an idea and not confuse a scene or confuse a performance. It should make it more clear. You can't be the real character. You can't do the real life thing. So you simplify. You take things out of it. But especially the function is important. The motivation of what you do, why, and then you don't just illustrate words or just do mechanical movements. You illustrate ideas or thoughts within the character in the way that then the character would do it. And very important, obviously, are the eyes. The eyes. Even if your whole body situation can be right, if the eyes are wrong, it doesn't work. It's the same with real people, probably. If they are wrong, it feels like, then suddenly you feel like you really have a puppet again. You don't believe you don't see the real character anymore. You just, suddenly you see it's a puppet. And you are out of the dream and out of the suspension of disbelief, which you can't have that. The eyes, obviously, they do show the inside, and the thoughts and the emotions. And the best bit of the whole movie, I think, is the bit after the end credits, or on the end credits, or before the end credits. Is animated by Travis Knight, who is the big hero of Laika, the CEO and lead animator. And he took forever also to do this one again. You can see you probably already have seen it. It starts with the acting and then it goes over into a big time lapse. So you can also see, but also listen to the words, because it talks about stop motion acting and all that we do in life. Well, in this stop motion life mainly as well. And I will stop talking.
Just keeping the streets clean.
Free from evil.
Yeah.
You ever think about the universe, Mr. Trout? What if our world is just like a tiny speck?
A tiny little speck.
And there are giants looking down on us.
And every time we move,
it's actually them moving us.
Seems a bit tedious.
Like that. Just there. Me blinking. That would have taken them a day.
Me moving my arm. 500 men.
I mean, none of them are going home. They're having to do this bit. And now this bit. And this bit. I mean, this should stop.
I think it throws up notions of free will.
It's too much. And then they would have had to have done me talking about the blink. And it never ends. I think they make a meal of it, to be honest. I don't know how they get the time. They've got to have other jobs. It's more like a hobby. You know, like stamp collecting, something you do in your free time.
They always crack me up.